We will see examples how to create void methods and non-void methods. First, we will create static void method, static void some m1. This is my static void method. We have discussed void methods will not return any value. This is my static void method. Next, we will see static non-void method. How we can create static non-void method? Static, I will write int as data type, as return type, because my method is returning int value. Here I want to return some number 10. So this is my static non-void method. It is a non-void method because it is returning 10 value which is having int data type. Because it is returning int value, that's the reason I have given int as return type. Static non-void method. Next we will see how to create non-static void method. Void m2 this is my non-static void method. So we know that void method will not return any value. That's the reason I am not using any return. This is non-static void method. Next we will see non-static non-void method, which is returning a value. Like I want to return double value, double m2. This is my non-static non-void method. For this I want to return some double value 23.45. I want to return this value. So this is my non-static non-void method. Non-static non-void method because it is returning a value. This is about void and non-void methods. Next we will see how to call this void and non-void methods. We will see calling these methods. We have seen creating methods. Now we have to see how to call these methods. Next we will see calling void and non-void methods. So how you will call void and non-void methods? We can call void and non-void methods in three ways. We can call it directly, or we can call by initializing a statement, initializing a variable initialization statement. It's nothing but to store the value which is returning from my methods. And we can call void and non-void methods from SOPLN, system.out.println. So first I will make a note about this, then we will see an example how to work with this. First we will make a note about this, then we will see example how to work with void and non-void methods. In general, methods are called in three ways. What are the three ways? First one is directly. How you can call a method directly? We will see now. Yum1. This is a direct method call. Next, second we have has variable initialization statement. How you can call has variable initialization statement like int some x is equal to yum1. What we are doing here is whatever the value which is returning from this yum1 method, that returning value I'm storing in my int variable. This is how we can call methods as variable initialization statement. Next we will see one more way, third way. Third way is has SOPLN. SOPLN is nothing but system.out.println argument. Has SOPLN argument. How you can call a method from SOPLN argument? We will see now. System.out.println yum1. This is how we can call method from SOPLN. So we will see what happens if we call a method directly, or if we call by using second way or by using third way. What happens if we use these different ways we will discuss now. if I use first method, in the first way, the returned value will be lost because I'm calling my m1 method directly. I'm not storing in any variable. That's the reason if you use our first way, you will lose the returned value which is returning from m1 method. If you use second method, what happens? In second way, the returned value is stored. Whatever the m1 method is returning some value, we are storing in x variable. So the destination variable is stored. I will make a note about this. In the second way, the returned value is stored in the destination variable. This is what happens if we use second way. Next we will see third way. In third way, we are using system.out.println. In the third way, the return value is printed on the console. Whatever the variable or method you are calling or you are printing inside system.out.println, it will print on our console. But if we want to use some program logic which is returning some value, only in second way we can use return value in further program logic. We will make a note about this. In third way, the returned value is printed on console. Only in second way we can use returned value in further program logic. This is about our third way. But if you are creating void methods, like I have static void method and non-static void methods, if you want to call this void methods, you can use only first way, like calling directly, because our void methods is not returning any value. That's the reason you have to call directly with whatever the method you want to call. You cannot call as second way and third way. For void methods, you have only one way, which is directly. If you call void methods by using second way or third way, you will get compile time error. I will make a note about this. Void method can only be called in first way. If we call it either second or third way it leads to compile time error. This is about void methods. Next, we will see an example program how to create void methods and non-void methods and how to call those methods. Just go to Notepad. I want to create a class some sample. This is my class. I already have sample class, that's the reason I'm just giving name as sample. In this class, I want to create static method. Static void some m1 method. Inside this m1 method, I want to print system dot out dot println m1. And I want to write static non-void method. Static, this is a non-void method. It is returning int value. Int m2. In this, I want to print system dot out dot println m2. This is my m2 method. Next, we will create main method. Public static void main. String array args. Inside this main method, I want to call my m1 method. M1 method I can call directly. Why? Because it is a static method. And I should not use our second way or third way, like storing the return value in any variable. We cannot use that method. We cannot use that way because our m1 method is not returning any value. Our m1 method is void. That's the reason I'm calling m1 method directly. Now I want to call m2 method. M2 method is a static method. I can call directly without creating object, but my m2 method is returning int value. Now I have to store that int value. To store that int value, I have to create int variable sub int x is equal to m2. This is the way you have to call methods. Now we will use third way, system dot out dot println. Inside this println, I will call my m2 method. We will see what it prints. So this is my class. Just save it. samp.java. We will execute it. JAVAC samp.java. Here I am getting error because my int, we will go to program, my m2 method is returning int value and I'm storing that returning value inside x variable by using int data type. But why it is returning error? Because here we did not write a return whatever the value you want to return, like 20. Now it will not show error because whatever the return statement I have provided now, just save it. Now you will not get any error because I'm using return with 20. Whenever you use a return type has any other than void, if you are using int double float, then you have to use a return statement, or else give you error. Now I am returning int value, that's the reason I am using return statement with my value. Just save it, Ctrl S, go to command prompt, javac samp.java. Something wrong, what we have done. Yeah, here I am using capital S, this is small s, static keyword. Keywords are case sensitive. If it is small, you have to use small letter itself. Now go to command prompt, javac samp.java. It has successfully compiled our class. Now we will execute our class java samp. Here you are seeing m1, it is printing m1, it is printing m2, and it is printing m2 with 20 value. Whatever the first control came to our class, whenever control comes to class, first it will check main method, then control will start executing from main method. From main method, it will call m1 method, then control goes to m1 method. From m1 method, it will print this m1 on our console. Next, after that, control comes to main method again. Here we are creating int x variable. Inside this we are calling m2 method. Then control goes to m2 method. It will print m2. That's the reason it is printing m2. And it is storing the return value in our x variable, but it is not printing x value after m2. You will get a doubt because here I am not writing system.out.println to print x value. That's the reason it is not printing x value after my m2, but here it is printing 20. How? Because inside system.out.println I am calling m2 method, then control goes to m2 method. Here it is printing m2 with returning value. This is how our program execution occurs. Next we will see how to create and how to call parameterized and non-parameterized methods. Our topic is parameterized and non-parameterized methods. So we have seen how we can create parameterized and non-parameterized methods. We will see briefly. So what is parameterized and non-parameterized methods? If a method is created with parameters, means, for example, I have m1 method. Inside m1 method brackets, beside m1 methods, inside bracket, if we use any variable with data type, then that method is called a parameterized method. If I am creating m1 method with just brackets, I am not creating any variables with data type inside that m1 method brackets, then it is called a non-parameterized method. We will see how to create parameterized methods and non-parameterized methods and how to call those methods. First, I will make a note about this. If a method is created with parameters, it is called parameterized method. Else, it is called non-parameterized or no argument method, or you can also call as zero argument method. Zero arg method. We will see with example. First, I will create a non-parameterized method. Static void m1. This is my non-parameterized methods because inside bracket I am not creating any variable with data type. This is a non-parameterized method. Next we will see how to create parameterized methods. Static void m1 this is a parameterized method, and it should have some parameters inside bracket. I want to create some int x variable inside this method parameters. This is a parameterized method because inside m1 method, inside brackets, we are using parameters. Int x is a parameter. Parameterized method. So we have seen how to create non-parameterized method and parameterized method. Next we will see how to call this parameterized method and how to call non-parameterized methods. Our parameterized method must to be called by passing the parameter type argument, or else it will leads to error, cannot find symbol. We will see how to call these methods. Calling parameterized and non-parameterized methods. So now we are discussing about how to call parameterized and non-parameterized methods. We will create a class some sample1. This is my class. Inside this we will create static void m1. This is my non-parameterized method. I want to print system.out.println. I just want to print yum1. Next we will create parameterized method. Static void yum2. This is a parameterized methods with int a parameter. Inside this I want to print system.out.println. Inside this I want to print yum2. Next we will create main method. Public static void main string array args. Inside this main method, first I will call yum1 method. Yum1 method I am calling directly because it is a non-parameterized methods. We are not using any parameters inside this yum1 method. But yum2 is a parameterized methods. Parameterized method. To call yum2 method, I have to pass arguments inside this method brackets. So for inside yum2 method, I am having int a parameter, means I have to pass int value to this a variable, means I will just pass some 20 value to this yum2 method. Now this is a valid statement. You will not get any errors. Just save it, Ctrl S. sample1.java. Now we will execute this class. javac sample1.java. We have successfully compiled. Now we have to execute java sample1. See, it is showing me yum1 and yum2 method. Yum2, it is printing. Whatever I have written in system.out.println, my yum1 method and yum2 method is successfully executing. Now, for my yum2 method, which is parameterized method, I will not pass argument. I will call yum2 method without any arguments. I will not pass any arguments to this yum2 method. Just save it. Now you will get error. Just check it. I will compile it again. javac sample1.java. Here it is saying method yum2 in class sample1 cannot be applied to given type. yum2 here it is showing it is required int, but it found no arguments inside this method. That's the reason it is showing me error. Here it is having yum2 with parameters int a, but here it is not, it did not found any arguments for this int a. That's the reason it is showing me error. Now I will pass 30. Just save it, Ctrl S, go to command prompt. Now execute it. javac sample1.java. Now it has successfully compiled. Now we will execute java sample1. See, it is printing yum1 and yum2. This is how we can work with parameterized and non-parameterized methods. So one thing you should not forget in parameterized methods, means that point I will make a note so you will not forget. You will remember this point. Parameterized Parameterized methods must be called by passing the parameter type argument, else it leads to compile time error, that is not found type. This point you should not forget when you are writing parameterized methods. So we have seen with example how to work with parameterized and non-parameterized methods.